Well, this weekend marks the unofficial start to summer, and for many families, that means more time outside soaking up the sun. But before you grab that sunscreen, there are some things you really need to know. Here's 6 News anchor Lori Tucker with this week's Caring for Our Kids.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Well, Consumer Reports just came out with some pretty surprising information about sunscreen. The SPF number on the bottle can be misleading, and it's not the only thing you need to be looking for. So joining us now with more on this is Dr. Ryan Redman, ER Director at Children's Hospital. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Before we talk about sunscreen, let's talk about kids and sunburn that can be so dangerous. Have you seen kids with serious sunburn come into the ER?
Absolutely. We have, especially this time of year when it's kind of the first time that they're out of school all day and in the direct sun, oftentimes people forget to put on sunscreen and they can get pretty significantly burned, including even kind of what we call partial or what we used to call second-degree burns.
Oh, wow. And that can have some really devastating effects.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's talk about SPF. I've got 50 here. And what does this mean? And is a higher number like 50 better for children?
In general, the higher number means more protection of, the certain type of UVA rays that the sunscreen is supposed to block. So in general, we have found that the sunscreen numbers don't always match their actual protection, so it's always best to guess high and apply more often than you think you would need to.
That's a key because, again, you need to use a broad spectrum as well and look on the label because they can't say waterproof anymore. It's water resistant. Hence, you do need to keep putting it on.
Correct.
How often?
Even the best sunscreen is going to wear off, especially if you're in water. So with kids, you want to be doing it about every half hour or so, even if it says longer on the bottle.
Wow, okay. And let's talk about what parents should do if their child is incredibly sunburned. When they're in pain and they're crying and you know they've been out a little bit too long and all of a sudden you realize, uh-oh, what do we do?
If the skin is just red and it's painful, then certainly you want to do your supportive care. Tylenol, ibuprofen, some of the topical like aloe vera type stuff can help quite a bit. If you get into having blistering or more significant burns, then you need to get seen by a healthcare provider.
Okay, and before we let you go, what about babies? How young is too young to use sunscreen?
Under 6 months of age, generally what you want to do is have them just avoid direct sunlight altogether. Use loose-fitting, cool clothing, hats, umbrellas, just keeping them out of the sun. You can use sunscreen on selected areas, but you don't want to slather them in it because it can cause problems with heat exhaustion. All
right, so areas like maybe a little bit on the cheeks and that kind of thing? Just
yeah, cheeks, hands, things that are exposed.
Okay. Dr. Redman, thank you so much
Absolutely.
for being with us. We appreciate it. And if you have a question about your child's health, just send me an email, ltucker@wate.com. And be sure to tune in every Thursday here on 6 News at 5:30 for Caring for Our Kids.